Okay friends, so JB here. We are at Strawberry Reservoir and we are looking to continue our road trip here in Utah. Sean, the co-pilot, or the pilot rather, I'm the co-pilot.
Extraordinaire.
And he's also the navigator, is going to tell us where we're going next.
Cool. So we are here at Strawberry Reservoir at that overlook. Looking out, we're going to take the Highway 40 down to a town called DUCHESNE, right on the edge of an Indian reservation, the Uinta and Ore Indian Reservation. Plus, this is a big junction, confluences of rivers. It's a small, high mountain Utah town, mixing Mormon settlers, everybody from everywhere, Indian reservations, all in one section.
What's a confluence for people?
So confluence is a joining of two things. In river talk, it's when two rivers join. So that's a confluence section. There's actually three coming into that section there.
Alright, so that's where we're going next, folks. Stay tuned. So we are leaving Strawberry Reservoir. I have another video for that if you haven't seen it. I also have a 360 version of it. So you can look at Strawberry Reservoir. Somebody recently asked me why it's called that. I do not know. That is something you could probably put in that video if you do know. So we're on Highway 40 going further east. As Sean said, we're going to the city of DUCHESNE. When you get there, you will see that it looks, at least in my opinion, more like a small town. I'm surprised that it's called a city. I don't know what are the requirements that are necessary to be called a city. It has that look, well, really all of Utah has that old Western look, desert look, like what you would see in the Western movies. In fact, many movies of a Western nature or theme are recorded in Utah, especially in the southern parts of Utah. But DUCHESNE is a city, or for me, like a small town, next to an Indian reservation. And I guess it has that feel of a small town look. You'll see when we get there. But in the meantime, I'm speeding up this video ×3. Or maybe it's really like ×6. I don't know why it says ×3. But anyway, it's going faster than it would normally so that you can get a gist of what a trip is like if you ever plan to go here by road and driving. As you can see, the hills and the mountains have that brown, rocky appearance, and you see like shrubs and green trees here and there. It doesn't have a forested or jungle appearance like some of you may be used to, depending on what part of the world you're around. So this is different, definitely. And because there aren't a lot of trees and stuff, you could see miles and miles ahead. It's a partly cloudy day. There's a slight mist in the air. A lot of that is coming from fires from California. And it can come the smoke can come as far as here in Utah and even travel further to other states. It was worse some other days. This is actually a clearer day. We are in the month of August. Or is this July? I think it's July we started this. And the reason I'm guessing is because sometimes I record these videos and I don't publish it until a while after. And sometimes I have to try and recall what we did, what we said, what we saw. It would be in a ideal world, it would be really good that right after I record something, I could just go home and edit it and publish it while it's fresh in my mind. But that rarely happens. Most of the time, I would have footage from months back, sometimes years back, and only now getting to it because it's so time consuming. I think a lot of viewers just do not realize how time consuming creating and publishing a video can be. But it's all worth it. I like to bring stuff to you. You can see where I'm going. A lot of my fans like to know what where the places are that I visit and what I see. And I try to bring it in a format that, relates to how you would see it if you were riding in this vehicle with me. and talking. You know how sometimes you have talk while you're traveling and saying, making comments about this or that. Of course, there are jokes and stuff, but I'm not going to bring any jokes, especially cheesy jokes, to my channel. I'm not that type of guy. I just keep it real. So this is a long stretch of road, as you can see. Now, the interesting thing about the Utes, which is part of the tribes that are near Duchesne City, is that they're about almost 3,000 strong, and half of that actually live on the reservation. I don't know how you feel about the American Indians, the North American Indians, that is, and their story, but to me it's heartbreaking that basically they had most of this continent and themselves and were basically reduced to very small parcels of land according to the treaty and agreements. And some of the land they were given wasn't really the best of it, but they do make it. Anyway, we are here in Duchesne City, and again, yes, it's called city, but as you can see, it has that look of a small town. Any of you who are very familiar with the history of Duchesne and how it came to be and why it's called a city and so forth, feel free to comment in the comments area. That's very much appreciated. I like to hear people's thoughts and wisdom about places I visit. Often they bring things that I never thought about or never saw or never knew. I don't claim to be a historian, so upon reaching, we kind of pulled aside here to check our maps, check where we could go and so forth. Now, this is a Sunday, so if you're wondering why you don't see anybody walking around, well, that's the reason. It's a Sunday, and I guess on Sundays, people are in church. Utah, by the way, is a very religious state. In fact, of all the states in the US, Utah's statistics show that it's the most attended religious state in the United States. And when I say that by attended, I mean that most of the people here will attend church services of one type or the other more than other states in the US. So that's to tell you how religious Utah is. Even so, there is a very progressive, liberal thinking that's coming up. Not so, don't think everybody is religious or everybody is quote unquote Mormon or LDS based on the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, which is predominant here. So I know probably a lot of you who are used to the term city meaning lots of buildings and people and whatnot. As you can see, it is not the case here. The tallest building is probably 2 stories. There are sparse trees, and as you can see in the background, it's very desert-like. Brown hills. Again, something like you would normally see probably in a western. For the people of Utah, this would be a common look. For people outside of Utah, this would be very unique. A lot of people watch my videos and wonder about the things that I say, but if you're watching your area, you would see it all the time, and so this would be common for you, and you would say, well, what's the big deal? For somebody who has never been to these areas or never lived in a desert, this would be like, wow, this is unique. For instance, look at that hill, how dry it is. In the Caribbean where I'm from, you would never see anything like that. Everything is always covered with green. So just the rock surfaces alone, the jagged edges, is almost like an artwork to itself. Now we were looking for some confluences. Sean is really big into that. As he explained in the beginning of the video, that's the joining or the merging of 2 or more rivers. And what happened is, you see that gate on the right with the barbed wire and the fencing, that was blocking it. So we couldn't actually get to the river. We could see it from a distance, but because this camera is facing forward and not really panning right or left, there was no way to actually show you anything. Maybe you might pick it up a bit. I think I do try to pan the camera a bit here, but still you can't see much. Now, places like this in the desert, water is more valuable than it may be in other places. Again, if things were left to itself, probably a lot of the green that you do see would be non-existent. People do have to spend time watering, making good use of water, and so forth. I guess there's pros and cons to that with regards to water usage, and that's why there are many reservoirs in Utah. That part on the left there, I believe that was one of the places that you could go, like a welcome center. There's a museum. Places like Duchesne, very popular with things like hiking, camping. Of course, if you wanted to visit the reservation, we weren't able to. That is definitely something I would like to plan in the future with Sean, to go to one of these reservations, check it out. I have a love for anything native, especially their artwork, their culture, their thinking, the way they connect with um, Mother Earth, if you would call it that. So we're just driving around here trying to look for anything interesting. And as you can see, by driving away from the major part of the quote unquote city, it gets more and more sparse. And there's nobody around. Again, it's Sunday. I don't know if it would be different if it was a day of the week. You could tell me if you've been to Duchesne during the week. Do you see a lot of people walking around or not? I don't know how safe it would be for bike riding, but a lot of these flat roads, they may have a slight incline or decline, but they are long stretches of road, and they would probably be really good for that. What do you think? Duchesne was also as part of a longer road trip from starting from Bridalveil Falls, going all the way east to here to Duchesne City, was the furthest point. This is sort of us turning around to also head back. Um, because I speed up the video, you may not realize just how long it takes to reach these places, but the whole day we spent about more than 8 hours of driving. So it was a lot of driving. There's also a veterans park here where they pay tribute to the soldiers and those who have fallen. Very big in the city. There's a monument there that we passed on the right that you can take a look at. Maybe one or two other things. Again, because it was Sunday, everything was closed. Nobody to tell us much or for us to go in and see. But again, if you were planning to come to Duchesne City, this would be the raw of it. This is what you could expect. And I would be very interested, anybody who's living there and watching this, please fill us in with what there is to do and see, and however you like to give props to this place. Anyway, I have many videos of different countries, trips, and so forth. Make sure to look on my YouTube channel where you can see plenty of it. And I have, as of today, over 3,200 videos. That's right, on my YouTube channel, and I'm approaching 10 million views, which isn't a much in YouTube standards, but it's a good start, and I appreciate you here. Thanks so much for watching.